they continue to uncover two of the most incredible discoveries ever made in the 225-year search.
Check that out.
Top of a keg.
Wow. So that's a keg, lid to a keg?
Yep.
An ancient hidden road in a hidden Oak Island swamp became Rick Lagina's highway to hope, as he said it could lead straight to a huge treasure. He believed it even more when strange things like a chain from the 1500s and old wooden pieces started to show up, pointing to something big that was lost long ago. The fan theories are exploding online. Templars, pirates, who built this road and why? Tune in to see if Rick's path leads to gold or just more heartbreaking questions. Whispers in the swamp. The Oak Island Swamp is a wet, muddy, and dangerous part of a small island in Nova Scotia, Canada. People have always talked about it with curiosity, telling strange stories and sharing wild ideas about what might be hidden there. For many years, brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, along with their hardworking team, only explored the edges of this swamp. But now they decided to dig deep into the muddy center, hoping to find something important. Rick, the older brother, has always had a deep and almost spiritual desire to solve the mystery of this island, which has lasted over 200 years. And as they finally pierced the swamp's dark heart, nobody knew if they were about to uncover a wonderful treasure or a mystery even deeper and more dangerous than they ever imagined. Their latest work focused on an incredible discovery, a giant stone road built by people long ago, now buried under layers of wet soil and swamp mud.
What is that?
That's the proper question to ask. What is that?
Every time the machine scooped out the dirt, it felt like they were digging through time itself. One worker even said it was like going back 100 years with each shovel of dirt. They had reached a dark, wet layer of ground where the stone road had been built, a layer that might still hold clues about the people who made it. Even though they were covered in dirt and sweat, you could see how excited the whole team was. To help them understand what they had found, they brought in Dr. Aaron Taylor, a well-known expert in archaeology. After looking at the large stone path, Dr. Taylor said he believed it was a real road that stretched from the swamp all the way up to higher land on the island. Even more interesting, he noticed another smaller path made of rough stones that seemed to split off from the main road, and he guessed it might lead to a man-made harbor or dock where ships could unload heavy cargo. The size and strength of this road were hard to believe. Dr. Taylor explained that building something this big through a swamp would have taken a lot of work and a large group of people with a strong and important reason to do it. This wasn't just a farm path, it was something serious and powerful. As they kept digging, the team found even more amazing clues. They discovered wooden pieces, some cut into stakes beneath the rocks, showing that the builders had created a strong wooden base to support the road in the soft, swampy ground. In some places, they even saw that there were two stone layers with more wood in between, proving how much effort had gone into this project. But this raised a big question. Why would anyone go through so much trouble to build a huge, strong road deep into a swamp, just to have it disappear under mud for hundreds of years?
If I had to give you my opinion on what it is right now, I'd say it's a road leading up to the uplands.
Fans online quickly shared their thoughts, saying this was proof that some unknown, highly skilled people had worked on Oak Island long before the famous discovery of the Money Pit in 1795. Of course, other people were quick to disagree. Some said it could have been part of an old road used for moving logs, or part of early industry, or maybe even just a strange natural thing that the treasure hunters were misunderstanding. As always with Oak Island, the argument started again. Then something even stranger was found: coal. Not just a little, but a lot of coal, big, heavy pieces, were found in and around the stone road. This made the team very confused. One worker pointed out that coal doesn't float, so it couldn't have just drifted into the swamp. Someone had to carry it there and leave it behind on purpose. But why would anyone bring coal to a swamp hundreds of years ago? A new idea quickly popped up. Maybe there had been a burn event. This reminded people of a long-standing theory from Fred Nolan, a famous Oak Island researcher. He believed that Oak Island used to be two smaller islands and that treasure holders, maybe pirates or even the mysterious Knights Templar, had sailed a ship into the gap between them. After unloading treasure, they may have burned the ship and created a swamp to hide the treasure forever. Could the coal and charcoal be the first real proof that this wild theory might be true? You see, coal wasn't really used on the island until the 1860s, when searchers used steam-powered pumps. But what if that coal isn't just from a simple fire? Finding so much of it so deep is very unusual. Ancient people sometimes buried special items or made strange layers in the earth to mark important places or to protect them. Think about how old cultures sometimes left valuable things in tombs, not just gold, but tools or food for a journey to another life. Could this coal be a deliberate marker, a sign left by the builders pointing to something even deeper? Or perhaps it was part of an old forgotten way of treating the ground for a special reason, a technique we no longer understand. It wasn't common to find coal used like this back then. This discovery makes the mystery even deeper and more serious. What secret message did they leave with these black stones? It was yet another strange and exciting piece of the Oak Island mystery, one that made Rick Lagina more eager than ever to find the truth. Echoes of cargo. Finding that strange coal buried in the swamp was just the beginning of a long list of amazing discoveries along the mysterious stone road. The whole team felt more excited than ever before, knowing they might be close to something truly huge. Rick Lagina, who always takes his time and thinks things through, reminded everyone to keep digging slowly and carefully. To help with the search, he called in Gary Drayton, the team's metal detecting expert. Gary has a special talent for finding important metal objects even when surrounded by trash and useless scraps. Fans of the show often say Gary could probably find a gold coin in a grocery store parking lot, and some even believe he has a kind of treasure radar.
Let's go find some treasure.
Come on, where are you?
Gary started sweeping his metal detector across the swampy peat layer that experts believe is from the same time the road was built. This layer is very important because peat builds up very slowly over hundreds of years, so anything found inside it is probably just as old as the road. The road itself looked very old already, with almost 2 feet of dirt on top of it. It didn't take long for Gary to get a strong signal from the ground. Rick and one of the crew members started digging exactly where Gary pointed, and soon they hit something solid. There it was, the round wooden top of a small barrel. Someone on the team shouted, "Holy crow," a phrase they often use when something surprising turns up. This wasn't just any random old wood, it was a real barrel lid, found right in the layer where people had once been active, long ago. Gary quickly reminded everyone that barrels like this weren't only used to carry gunpowder back then, they were also used to carry treasures, including gold and silver coins. This discovery brought new excitement to the dig site. Could this broken barrel lid be proof that this stone road was once used to carry heavy loads, maybe even treasure chests, onto Oak Island from ships nearby? Even more exciting, could it be linked to another old story from the island? In 1861, early treasure hunters found a similar barrel piece deep inside the famous Money Pit. That connection raised big questions. If kegs were once moved along this swamp road and pieces of those kegs also ended up inside the Money Pit, did that mean the two places were directly connected? Some fans online were already calling this proof that the swamp road led right to the treasure. But the swamp still had more to reveal. Not long after finding that first barrel lid, the team discovered another piece of wood in the same deep mud layer. This one looked a little different, with a different shape, which suggested it came from another barrel or a different part of a container. This was an important clue because finding more than one item from the same time period helped prove the area had once been active and used by people. Rick, always careful not to jump to wild conclusions, told the team not to guess too much yet. He said the best thing to do was collect the items properly, just in case they had chemical traces on them that could be tested in a lab. Rick's steady focus on science and facts, even when surrounded by excitement, is something fans really admire. And then, just a few weeks before they found the barrel pieces, the team had made another huge discovery. While digging on the south side of the same stone road, they uncovered a big, heavy iron chain with a hook on the end.
This looks old.
The Oak Island team uncovered a large, hand-wrought chain and hook.
They sent it to Carmen Legg, their expert on old metal tools. Carmen is well known by Oak Island fans for being able to date metal items with surprising accuracy. When he looked at the chain and hook, his answer amazed everyone. He believed it came from the 1500s, meaning it could be more than 400 years old, from a time before most Europeans were even in the area. Some fans believe Carmen is a genius at his work, while others online say they're not sure how he can be so sure without doing more lab testing. Still, even if it was just an educated guess, a 16th century chain was a massive deal. The team guessed it might have been part of a system used to pull very heavy objects, like treasure chests or cannons, up the stone road using people or animals. The road gave them a strong path, and the chain gave them the strength to move the load. It all made sense if this place was once a secret area to bring in treasure. But that chain from the 1500s makes you pause and think. For that time period, such a strong iron chain suggests serious skills and resources. It wasn't just any group that could make or get something like that. What if it wasn't just for dragging chests? Some ancient people were amazing engineers. The Romans built incredible roads and aqueducts that lasted for centuries. Old stories even tell of clever traps and machines in hidden tombs, like for the first emperor of China. Could this chain be part of a more complex machine? Maybe for a hidden gateway, a heavy lifting device for something truly massive, or part of a system to control water in this swamp for a secret purpose. And the surprises weren't over. Gary Drayton kept searching near the end of the road where it seemed to connect with the beach, and there he found another piece of wood. This one looked like a barrel stave, the curved wooden part of a barrel's side. The team got excited again because it looked just like barrel staves they had found in the swamp 3 years earlier. Back then, those pieces had also been shown to Carmen Legg, who said they could be up to 600 years old. If that's true, it means someone was doing things on Oak Island as far back as the 1300s, a time long before any known explorers reached the area. That kind of discovery would totally change what we know about history in North America and would make theories about the Knights Templar seem a lot more believable. Of course, many scientists and historians don't agree with these wild ideas and say the dating might not be right. But for the fans who believe, every new piece of wood, metal, or mystery is another step closer to the truth. The swamp, once ignored, was now starting to look like the most important part of the whole island mystery. The artifacts were piling up, each one a silent witness from a forgotten time, screaming that something huge, something important happened right here in this muddy swamp, all connected by that mysterious buried stone road. The path forward. With each new thing pulled from the swamp, like the old keg lids, the 400-year-old chain, the very old barrel staves, and even the strange coal, Rick Lagina's quiet hope continued to grow. But so did his focus on doing everything the right way, using science to guide every step. Even though the hunt for treasure was still exciting, Rick kept reminding his team and the viewers that facts and proof were what really mattered. He wanted every wooden item and every small clue sent to a lab for testing. He hoped that scientists could run tests to see what might be left on the wooden pieces. Could they find traces of what used to be inside the barrels? Could they learn where the wood came from? And was the coal really old, or was it something left behind by searchers from more recent years? These were the questions Rick wanted answered before jumping to any wild ideas. Some fans really enjoy this part of the show, the mix of science and treasure hunting. Others sometimes get impatient online, saying they'd rather see quick, exciting discoveries, like when Gary Drayton finds shiny objects with his famous metal detector. Meanwhile, Rick's younger brother, Marty Lagina, who helps fund the whole Oak Island project, found himself thinking twice about the swamp. For years, Marty had thought the swamp was just a big waste of time and money. He didn't believe much would come out of it. He was the one who usually asked the tough questions and tried to keep the team's dreams grounded in reality. But now, with so many important things turning up near the stone road, Marty was clearly changing his mind. Rick even joked that he could see a little sparkle in Marty's eyes whenever they talked about the swamp now. It wasn't a big change, but it was an important one. Marty, the careful thinker, was starting to believe there was something real and valuable buried in that muddy swamp. Many fans enjoy seeing this shift in Marty because it shows that the evidence is finally strong enough to make even a skeptic start to believe. Then they found something even more curious, a wooden piece shaped like a handle. It might have come from an old pickaxe or axe. It was buried deep in the road's base, and the team wondered if it had once belonged to someone building the road. If so, studying the wood might show how old it was or even hint at who used it. Could it have been left behind by the English, the French, the Spanish, or maybe someone more mysterious like the Vikings or the Knights Templar? Every piece they found felt like a small clue pointing to a much bigger story. But the biggest question of all still hung in the air. Why build this huge hidden road in the first place? Why put so much time and effort into something only to bury it so well that no one saw it again for centuries? Rick believed whoever built it had a secret plan. They needed the road to do something important, and once it was done, they didn't want anyone to ever find it. The most exciting idea of all, the one that kept the team digging year after year, was that the road could lead right to the treasure. Maybe even the famous money pit, or some other hidden vault underground. Working in the swamp was not easy. Gary Drayton often called it squidgy, meaning it was soft, wet, and tricky to move around in, especially with big machines. But the team knew they had to keep going. The finds were just too good to ignore. They were getting ready to dig deeper, to follow the road as far as it went. Even Marty, who once doubted everything about the swamp, now said the best discovery might still be ahead. As always, the fans were split. Some people watching the show were convinced the stone road was the final clue that would solve the whole Oak Island mystery. One fan online might say Rick is about to find the biggest treasure in history, but others who were more doubtful might reply, it's just another old road. They'll find a few pieces of wood, and next season it'll be a new theory again. The real treasure is the show's TV ratings. This back and forth between believers and skeptics is part of what makes the show so popular. The truth is, after more than 200 years of digging and spending millions of dollars, Oak Island is still holding on to its secrets. But what keeps Rick and his team going, and what keeps millions of fans coming back every season, is the thrilling thought that the next scoop of mud, the next signal from Gary's detector, could finally be the one that reveals the treasure. That stone road, full of mystery and old artifacts, is now the center of the search. And for Rick, Marty, and all who believe, the adventure is far from over. Is Rick Lagina's secret swamp pathway truly leading to a historic treasure, or just more Oak Island heartbreak? What do you think they'll find next? Smash that like, subscribe for more.